Greg Olsen right here. Greg, thank you very much. I'm not going to test you on third, fourth string quarterbacks, but we figured just in case a lot of things go wrong in your week one game, the 49ers and the Seahawks. We wanted to know who was going to be able to step in. How you doing, buddy? How's everything going?
Yeah, I'm glad you're not testing me on that. I'm getting ready for the Bills Bears preseason game this Sunday that I have up in Chicago. And, as anyone who's ever participated in a preseason game, it's really going to test your knowledge of NFL roster depth. So you just pray that as many starters at least give you a series or two as they can, because with these roster sizes not being cut down like in years, like it used to be in the old days, it's certainly a challenge.
You're going to see a lot of Tyson Bagent in that game, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But hopefully his dad's around, get to see one of the great arm wrestlers of all time, and the guy who handed me the worst loss I've ever had at anything in my life when I arm wrestled him at the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago here. So Greg, you got a lot going on, including the launch of Youth Inc. today. It's a content and commerce platform, and you got some cool stuff coming in terms of your guest. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so it's cool. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach that we're trying to tackle here in the youth sports space. The content piece was something we've been kind of exploring for a couple years now. And as a dad of young kids who coaches a lot of their teams, both my sons and my daughter, I grew up playing for my dad. He was my high school football coach. So this has been my world my whole life. And I found myself saying, I don't know what we're doing. Like youth sports, I don't recognize youth sports anymore for middle school and high school and younger kids. Like it doesn't feel like it used to. And we're going to go out and find out why. And we've had some really cool conversations. Today, our episode with Tom Brady launches. We got Malcolm Gladwell and CJ Stroud and Ryan Day and, world best-selling authors to mental sports psychologists like Michael Gervais, athletes, coaches. And then on the other side of that, through the education and the entertainment, through the content piece, we've also said, listen, there's a huge disconnect in the experience for families as far as supporting their children's teams through fanware and team gear. If anyone's ever tried to buy a sweatshirt through their kid's school or travel baseball team or whatnot, it is not the same experience as you would get, going to buy a Panthers, jersey or a T-shirt or something more college or pro oriented. So we're trying to take that model and bring it down to the youth sports. So you can go on there, find your team, find your high school, and buy premium, high quality stuff, all customized with your kid's high school team or middle school team's logo. So we're looking to kind of take on that youth sports commerce platform that doesn't really exist at any significant scaled level. And we think the ability to provide this content as a consumer facing brand awareness kind of acquisition type piece, the two aspects of the company go very well together. And overall, just trying to improve the experience of everybody that's participating in the youth sports atmosphere.
I've had a lot of thoughts about this subject, Greg, in recent years, because I got two daughters. They're 11 and 8. The 8-year-old is kind of just coming into it and getting really excited about the sports. And frankly, the 11-year-old kind of lost some level of interest because you had this very early splintering of your friends who are good at soccer are going to go play club, and it is going to be year-round, basically one long season, and they're practicing 4 times a week, and they're going and driving to games. Or you stay in the house league, which is just kind of, it's the same team. It's like the same club that puts it on, but it's just kind of this smattering. There's no officials. It's parent, coach. Like there's no in between. I remember growing up in the 80s and 90s. I think I'm a little older than you, but it was like you played in your house league, but you played basketball, and then you played baseball, and then you played football, and you had this rotation, and everyone you knew did that. It was like 5th or 6th grade before there was even like weekend travel stuff. How much has that, in your mind and through your conversations, altered the dynamic surrounding youth sports?
Oh, it's everything. What you just said is happening in every American city at every age level, and it's just getting younger and younger and younger with each passing year. What used to not happen for the specialization that used to happen late in high school for some people, that's now happening in elementary and middle school. And it's really, of course, it's the adults, right? We're not creating environments, we're not creating spaces that tolerate, but more important, encourage kids to say, this is the time to go out there and explore what you like. You don't have to make your decision on what sport you are as a 10-year-old girl. I don't know what you're going to be good at. I don't know what my 12-year-old son is going to be good at when he's 17. How big is he going to be? How strong? What's his level of interest? Does he rather hang out with his girlfriend? Does he want to go with his butt? Like, we don't know any of these things yet. We're trying to rush these decisions. So it's a huge area of the conversations that we're having. And, I had it with Malcolm Gladwell, who's obviously written some of the most pioneering literature on just exploring, from his outliers to, to leadership things like talking to strangers. I mean, just some of the books that he's written in that space are just so relevant to the conversation, and to be able to sit down with him and really get these answers, talking to Tom Brady about his early childhood specialization or lack thereof. So yeah, what you're saying right now is the inspiration and a big part of why we're going on, because I don't have a lot of the answers. I know what I'm experiencing with my 3 children versus what I want it to be versus what it is are not always aligned. But we're going to have a major reckoning here in America. We're going to have a major reckoning at high schools, because they're going to have a hard time filling all of these different teams' rosters every season. Because if every kid in the school just plays one sport, you're inevitably, unless you're a 3,500 kids school and you just have 1 million kids at the school and you can support it, you're going to find high schools now just dropping sports, because you just don't have enough kids to share if everyone's only playing one sport. So I challenge coaches, I challenge administrators and parents to say, regardless of what everyone else is doing, we're not going to tolerate that. I'm the baseball coach. I want you to go play football. I'm the football coach. You should walk into the gym after the state championship and go play on the high school basketball team in front of your school. Like, that's the way it should be. It's healthy. It's good for them mentally. It's good for them physically. And the pressure and expectation that the adults are putting on kids, that if you don't just play for me, you're going to get left behind. I think it's very dangerous. And again, it's not in the best interest of the kids.
My favorite part of Outliers is in like the first 10 pages where it's the hockey roster and everyone was born in January. Yeah. And I'm like, I knew it. If I were born 2 months earlier, I would be a world-class athlete. Instead, I'm sitting here behind this desk. All right, a couple of hard-hitting football questions for you here, Greg. I know you know Travis Kelce well through tight end university and everything. Can we show the photo of Kelce on the GQ cover? What I really want your breakdown of this right now, Greg. Tell me about what you're seeing here from Travis.
Listen, if there was a guy in the world, forget in the NFL, if there was a guy in the world who should be on the cover of GQ with whatever that animal is around his neck, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know how much they're into animal rights. I don't personally care, but I'd be curious. He is made for that. Like, he has, when you're around Travis, forget how good he is on the field, and I've gotten to know him personally really well. Like, he is not seen this one. I did not see that one, but he's just so comfortable. He's so authentic. Like, he just is that guy. He's everyone's best friend in every room he's in. He makes everybody feel like you've known him for 20 years. He's comfortable wherever he is in his own skin. Like, I can just see him down in South Florida in the Everglades or wherever they're doing this, just completely embracing everything about this photo shoot. And if that's me in that outfit holding a crocodile or an alligator, I'm assuming, like, I'm stiff, I'm awkward, I'm uncomfortable. Like, that's just Travis. And he is just as good of a player as he is. He's that good of a dude. He's fun to be around. He's great to your kids. He's great to your family. Like, he's just that guy. And I've really enjoyed getting to know him over the last couple of years at a personal level and just being around him and spending time. And he's arguably one of the most popular, famous people in the world right now. And it couldn't have happened to a better guy.
You look at some of the quotes in the article. On a serious note here, he talked about the last 2 years weren't up to his standard, which everybody reaches a certain point, Greg, in their career where it's just like you might not be that same guy anymore. And as much as you say that's below my standard, that might be the new standard. When you look at Travis, or for that matter, some of these other really veteran tight ends in the league, guys like George Kittle, who are at kind of a different stage in his career, you're around all these guys, you see them. Like, what do you envision for them here in 2025?
Yeah, so I think Travis is kind of a victim of his own success. I think he ended his streak of 1,000 yards at 7. It was unheard of for guys to go that the level of consistency and production year in and year out, especially at a position like tight end where there is such attrition and injury rates and just the falling off the other side of the cliff in your mid-30s is pretty much the standard. He was defying all of that for the position. So then all of a sudden you don't get 1,000 yards a couple seasons in a row and people lose their minds. But I think when you look at what he's done in the postseason, what he's done, obviously in the regular season throughout his career, I mean, he's approaching the conversation. I think he's already there as when he retires, being the best guy to ever play the position. And I don't think I ever would have expected that when I was coming up. It was Tony Gonzalez, and then Gronk kind of got onto the doorstep, and the longevity of Travis with the production. I never thought anybody would ever catch a Tony Gonzalez, because you're talking 17, 18 years of that level. It was unheard of. That's Travis. And then you factor in postseason success, Super Bowls, all the records that he has in the playoffs. His career really stands on its own. But, the guys like Kittle and Kelce, and those guys are just different. They're just uniquely talented. Their work ethic, their expectation that they hold of themselves. You just can't coach that. You can't teach that, right? There's a lot of guys in the league you can coach to run routes, but you can't find guys that just hold themselves to that level of expectation and accountability year in and year out and can play like that. So those guys are special. I think we've got a young crop of tight ends that are coming up behind them and have a chance, like Brock Bowers and Laporta and some of these young guys that have come in to the league the last couple of years. This could be a golden age of the NFL tight end position, as far as just across the board. Every team pretty much has a legitimate guy, and that was not the case when I came into the league early in my career.
And as a reminder, a lot of those guys you just mentioned played multiple sports when they were kids, and it worked out just fine for them in the long run. Youth.Inc. is where you can find out more about Youth Inc. podcast, and a brand that is being launched today by Greg Olsen. Greg, thanks a lot for the time, man. Great seeing you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.